in 1992, a perfect 10-0 coming into their regional final against Flint Central this afternoon at Guy Houston. Seniors like Rory Zagunis, a triple threat, and fullback Calvin Massenberg. Flint Central has their own triple threat in halfback, punter, and returner Andre Weathers, but there's much more to the Flint Central attack. How do you cover them all? That's the big challenge confronting Grand Rapids Union. It's the regional final between the Red Hawks and the Indians. It is the dream of thousands and thousands of Michigan high school football players every year when they begin those hard two-a-day practices in August to be part of an unbeaten football team. Now the field has been pared down of all the teams in Michigan high schools. It's been pared down to 23 unbeaten teams. We're going to be watching two of those teams this afternoon along with you. Unbeaten Grand Rapids Union, winner of the Grand Rapids City League, 10-0 coming into this afternoon's contest, against the Flint Central Indians, winner of the Flint City League. They fashioned a 10-0 record coming into the ball game today. Good afternoon, everybody. Under misty, drizzly, overcast but mild conditions here at Guy Houston Stadium, my name is Mike Kachowski. With me, William McNeil and spotter Sean Mayville. And William, this is what you look forward to as broadcasters, as well as all the fans coming into today's game, the Battle of the Unbeatens. In this case, the Red Hawks of Grand Rapids Union and the Indians of Flint Central.
Yeah, this is what you look for, excuse me, as an announcer, as a fan, and also as a player. Looking at Grand Rapids Union, head coach Scott Van Essen, 2 years at the position, 13 wins and 6 losses. His overall record is 13-6 also, and his assistant coaches are Jim Smith, Mike Woods, and Brian Smith. And Grand Rapids comes in undefeated, like we stated, 10-0.
Their leading rushers, as we look on with you, Calvin Massenberg, he's the fullback, over 1,000 yards this year, and then Lloyd Nelson complements him nicely in the tailback spot. Mark McCoy, an accurate passer, completing about 60% of his throws for over 1,000 yards. His favorite target, Rory Zagunis.
And I tell you, Mike, Calvin Massenberg comes in at 6'1", 270 pounds.
He's going to be tough for Flint Central, and certainly opponents of Grand Rapids Union know he's very difficult to bring down. There's the defensive leaders for the Red Hawks. Johnson and Massenberg leading in solos, and Tim Sealand is actually the leading tackler from that linebacker spot. And Zagunis, in addition to his tight end duties and pass catching abilities, also has 4 interceptions on the defensive side of the football. And now here's the kicking stats, William.
Yeah, Roy Zagunis averages 42 yards punting.
He is definitely the triple threat for the Red Hawks. Here's the conference look as a team for Grand Rapids Union. They finished in first place, as we mentioned to you, in their City League. Now here's the Flint Central Indians, and what better time to start talking about them as they come out onto the football field for this afternoon's Region 1 championship here at Guy Houston Stadium. Their head coach, Joe Eufinger, he's been there 18 years. He earlier this year grabbed his 100th win as the Indians mentor, 108-57 overall, with his assistants Bob Hollick, James Hurd, and Otha Hill, along with Don Odom and Sam Parashos. And then their offensive stats, William.
Yep. Andre Weathers 101 attempts, 735 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Fred Jackson's the quarterback, 128 attempts, 70 completions, 1,335 yards, and 19 TDs. And they got the double threats at receivers. D'Angelo Mitchell, 35 receptions, 666 yards, 12 TDs. And Rico Hurd, 11 receptions, 264 yards.
This is a team that has made a living off the big play this year. We'll tell you more about that as we go along in the broadcast. The kicking stats, Andre Weathers also punting, 37 yards a kick, along with returning the football, both on the punting and the kicking side. Let's go on down now as we take a look at the first place for Flint Central in both their City League and in the Saginaw Valley Conference this year. Without further ado, let's go on down now to our field broadcaster, Greg Tunnicliffe. Greg?
Thanks, Mike, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Guy Houston Stadium. Today's regional championship between the visiting Grand Rapids Union Redhawks and the home team, the Indians of Flint Central. Two of the key factors in today's game are going to be the field and weather conditions. As you can see behind me, the field here at Guy Houston is in very bad shape. All four Flint schools have played their home games on this field this season, and thus the field has taken a lot of abuse and punishment. As you can see, there are a lot of roughed up areas. The sod has been torn up. There are a lot of brown areas, and because of that, the footing of the players could be in danger. Now, on the other hand, the weather can also be a key factor. Right now, we are under gray skies and a misty rain. The weatherman says that it should clear up as the game progresses. If not, that could be a key factor. Both of these schools like to throw the football. Under rainy conditions, you're not going to see a lot of aerial attack. Let's send it back upstairs to Mike and Will for the ball game. Gentlemen.
Thanks a lot, Greg, for that sideline report. The weather will play a factor in this game, like Greg stated, especially with the footing. Central offense is pretty much based on speed, but offensively, Central has the advantage when the field is bad because the receivers and the backs know where they're going. The defenders don't.
They've got that all-important first step, as you indicated, William. We're just about set to go here. Grand Rapids Union dressed in their visiting whites with the red numerals and the dark pants, while the Indians, pretty much the opposite. They're dressed in their home black jerseys and black pants with the white and red stripes and, of course, that traditional Indian football helmet that they go with. The last time that Flint Central had an unbeaten campaign, you have to go all the way back to 1947. A long time ago, 46 years ago. This has been the Indians' best season ever, and of course the best season also for their head football coach Joe Ufinger. And you know, it's the type of thing where no matter what happens this afternoon, William, they have had an outstanding season, and you know, each step that they take toward the Pontiac Silverdome only makes this season even more special.
It does. Win, lose, they have to look back on this season and its accomplishments and still call it a great season, even though you fall short of your goal. It doesn't diminish anything by any means.
That's right. The winner of this ball game, just to let you know, will play the winner of Region 2 at a neutral site, and Region 2 Class AA, the winner of the Brighton-Westland-John Glenn game will be the opponent for the winner of this game this afternoon at Guy Houston Stadium between the Indians and the visiting Redhawks. We're just about set to go. Grand Rapids will be kicking off to Flint. Flint will be moving from my right to left, and back for the Indians are Andre Weathers along with Drew Verball, number 20. Verball at the top of your screen, the top right-hand side of your screen. And we're underway here in this Region 1 Class AA championship game. Picking his way up to the 35-yard line was D'Angelo Mitchell, and that's where the high-octane Indian offense will start.
Tackled by Tim Nealon that time. Good special team effort.
D'Angelo Mitchell, one of the big play fellas for Flint Central, 12 touchdowns. Half of those have covered 25 or more yards, and 3 of them were from really downtown, from 60 yards away or more.
And when you look at this Flint Central offense, there's no place you can key.
We'll take a look at the offensive lineup for the Indians right after this play. 1st and 10 as quarterback Brett Jackson brings them up. Sends a man in motion, pitches him the football. That's Andre Weathers getting around the corner. Across his 45-yard line, and they're going to say that he stepped out just short of the midfield stripe. And on the first play, the Indians come out smoking.
And he was knocked out of bounds by Mark McCoy. And fortunately for McCoy, he got over there as Weathers got the corner, turned the corner.
So the Indians now 1st and 10 from their own 49-yard line. And they're going to split out D'Angelo Mitchell wide right, and right down below me is number 83, Larry Kemp. The man in motion is Hurd. And on the reverse, plenty of running room. Almost able to get down the sideline was Andre Weathers, and they come right back with Weathers, and he gets another 13 yards or so, and another first down, now in Union territory at the 37.
Knocked out of bounds that time by Lloyd Nelson, and you have to credit George Gaddis, throws a big block to spring Weathers.
The tight end for Central is D'Angelo Mitchell. Clemens, Eccles, Scott, Braswell, Gaddis, and Kemp are the front line. Jackson, Griffin, Weathers, and Rico Hurd is the backfield for Joe Eupinger's Indians. And they pitch it now to Hurd, and this time Union hems them in.
I think the tackle over there was made by Calvin Massenberg. The defensive tackle, 6'1", 270 pounds. On this front line of Grand Rapids Union goes 270, 310, and 270.
Yeah, they are a team that really anchors itself well, both offensively and defensively, along the front. But Flint Central now attacks them straight up the middle with their fullback, Glenn Griffin, the senior. Good yardage straight up the middle.
Mike Bitson on the tackle that time for Grand Rapids. 3rd down and about, looks to be about maybe 4 or 5 yards. And first time Central has faced this situation as their first 2 plays went for first downs.
Football on the 33-yard line of the Red Hawks, going against a 5-man visiting front. Sending Weathers in motion, pitching to him. Tries to cut it back inside and taken down by the shirt tail by the leading tackler for the Red Hawks, Tim Steeland, and Steeland just wasn't going to let go.
Oh, no. Grab on and wait for help.
Yep. And that time it worked very well for the visitors. Gain of just a yard for Weathers, and it'll bring up 4th and 4, and Central is in, indeed, 4-down territory.
They are in 4-down territory. It's interesting to see what they do here. They run just as well as they pass.
Jackson has not thrown the ball yet. Let's see if he does here. Nope, they're going to give it to Weathers. Good hole. Tries to hurdle a man at the 30, and I don't think he picked up the first down. And a little jawing going back and forth between Union and Central now. Looked like he got tripped up by Massenberg, and coming along there to help was 53 Mike Hernandez.
I think his knee was down before he got a chance to make that last lunge. If he had lunged before the knee touched, he would have indeed been a lot closer, if not getting the first down.
A couple of yards shy of that first down, and Union stiffens and will take over on downs. Their offense looks this way. The tight end is Ed Summerall. The left tackle, Andy Dosser. The left guard, Rich Van Zyl. The center is Chris Wawi. The right guard, Brandon Mentalowitz, number 60. 53, Mike Hernandez is the right tackle offensively. Rory Zagunis is the tight end. We'll talk a lot about him. Number 12, we'll get the backfield to you after this play. 1st and 10 Union from their 29, and they give it to the big fella, and he rumbles past his 35, close to the 40. Calvin Massenberg, we talked about him a little bit in the pregame, 270 pounds.
Massenberg looks like Ironhead Hayward out there as he gets the football, rumbles for a first down. Hey, you go with what works. Good tackle there by Jamar Calvin. And Calvin, that's the way you have to tackle a man the size of Massenberg. You have to hit him at the ankles. You hit him up high, he just carries you with him.
Boy, Central needs 13 or 14 defenders to help bring him down, and now twisting and turning is Lloyd Nelson, the tailback, and he is no small fry either. He's built very stocky, close to the ground at 5'8", 200 pounds, and he got a couple of yards there. The backfield, Nelson is the tailback, number 6. Massenberg's the fullback, number 5. The quarterback is Mark McCoy. He's completed 54% of his passes for 10 scores and 1,023 yards. And the flanker is number 19, Matt Partridge. 2nd and 8. They give it inside to Massenberg, and this time, big 77 for the Indians. George Gaddis at 225 and 6'5", knocked him down.
Somebody the size of Gaddis, he said, I'll tackle him high.
There's a look at the Union offense again. Summerall, Dosser, Van Zyl, Wawi, Mentalowitz, Hernandez, Zagunis, McCoy, Massenberg, Nelson, and Partridge, the flanker. 3rd and 8 now. Just under 8 minutes to play, opening quarter. They give it to Massenberg, and he just goes nowhere. Once again, knifing in there. Looked to be that time 67, Nate Braswell, the senior.
Along with number 72, Tyron Love.
So both offenses have shown spurts and signs of life so far, but really it's the defense that has played the early story on each team's opening possessions, William.
You know, both coaches said whichever defense could do the best job of shutting down the other guy's high potency offense will win this ball game.
Mitchell is going to let Zagunis' punt bounce in front of him and finally roll to a stop at the 21-yard line. So a kick of about 36 yards and no return, and the Red Hawks will take that. 1st and 10 Indians on their own 21. See if we can't get that Indians offense on the screen for you. With 7:17 to go in the opening quarter, and our game is scoreless. Region 1 Class AA Championship on the line here, with the winner advancing to the state Class AA semifinals. They go with a single setback, the Indians do, and they send Weathers in motion. Give to Weathers. Oh, he's locked in behind the line of scrimmage and did an excellent job getting back close to the first down line, right around the 20-yard line, but Union really had him hemmed in there with 3 or 4 white jerseys.
Led by Mike Hernandez and friends.
Mitchell, Clemens, Eckel, Scott, Braswell, Gaddis, and Kemp, the front 7 for Joe Eufinger's Indians. Fred Jackson, Glenn Griffin, the fullback, Andre Weathers, and Rico Hurd, the rest of that backfield for Flint Central. Throwing now the first time for Jackson. Right in the hands and then out of D'Angelo Mitchell's palms.
And I think D'Angelo Mitchell, after he caught that pass, was thinking end zone.
Oh, you know that he was seeing 6s all across his eyes.
Because I have, you know, the previous games we've done of Flint Central, I have seen D'Angelo Mitchell make that catch in traffic, defensive backs bearing down on him, so it couldn't have been footsteps. He had to be thinking 6.
It was wide open, and it's just one of those things where you just have to shrug it off, and I would not be surprised to see Flint Central go right back to D'Angelo Mitchell here.
Well, that's the thing as a wide receiver. You drop some catches you should make, and you make some catches you shouldn't. So it pretty well evens out.
You hope it balances out in your favor, and they go right back to Mitchell, and this time Jackson overthrows him by a few yards as D'Angelo may have got hung up a little bit on that route there, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Well, so far this has been a game of field position. Central moved the ball in the first 2 plays from scrimmage and got down in 4-down territory, eventually had to punt. Grand Rapids couldn't, their first play from scrimmage made a 1st down, couldn't move the ball any further. They had to punt. Central's further back now. With this punt, will put Grand Rapids closer than what they were when they got the ball the first time.
Well, the onus is on Andre Weathers to give Central some field position here. Protection is good, and he hits a liner.
Good kick, and he gets a great roll.
All the way down, picked up by Zagunis, and he just falls out of bounds at the 33-yard line right down below us. So it works out to the tune of 47 yards for Flint Central, and they will take that each and every time. So it's been a game of field position, as you indicated so far, William, and the 2 teams kind of pairing with each other right now. And Union will come out for their second possession. Let's try and take a look at the respective defenses, see if we can get that Indian defense up on the screen for you. First and 10 Union, let's call it at the 34-yard line. McCoy, handoff, Massenberg. Oh, and he just likes to put his helmet right into the midsection of the opposition and just rumble up to his 37-yard line there, and there's the Indians' defense, William.
Defense is led by George Gaddis, Torrey Robinson, Tyvon Love, Tyrus Fowler, Johnson, Calvin, Phillips, Nagy, Mitchell, Hurd, and Weathers round out the defensive backs.
So they employ some two-way people, certainly, in that Indian lineup. And there's one that's almost picked off. They were going for Zagunis on the crossing pattern, and coming up for the football was Andre Weathers, as the pass by McCoy was a little bit behind Zagunis, and Andre Weathers almost had himself a big interception, and I think he may have had 6 points on his mind.
Oh, definitely. And also give a little credit to Zagunis. I think he got a hand in there to knock that away at the last second.
Third down, and let's call it 7, Union from their 37. They go with the I formation with the up man Massenberg, and they pitch to the tailback on the option. Forget it. A stellar defensive play back there by linebacker Jeff Nagy.
Jeff Nagy made the initial contact deep in the backfield, and everybody else meet me at the ball.
Fourth down and 14 now for Union, and 3 plays and out. Excellent job done by Joe Eufinger's defensive crew. Zagunis gathers in the high snap and hits a great punt, and forced to make a diving fair catch was Weathers at the 37-yard line. So a kick of 33 yards and no return against a slight win by Zagunis. And now on the change of possession, we'll see the Central offense again with 4:56 to play here in the first quarter, and the game still scoreless.
And with the drop by D'Angelo Mitchell on that wide open pass play, and it came back to him, still open. If we take a look at the Flint Central offense, Mitchell, Clemens, Eccles, Scott, Braswell, Gaddis, Larry Kemp, Fred Jackson, Griffin, Weathers, and Hurd. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw first.
First penalty flag of the afternoon down as Central completes. Jackson to Rico Hurd on the far side in front of the Union bench. And Hurd was slammed out of bounds at 45-yard line for 8, and we'll see what the yellow flag's all about. Procedure against the Indians.
The Indians do a lot of shuffling, a lot of moving, somewhat reminiscent of the Dallas Cowboy offense of old. You got this guy going here, that guy going there when this guy stops, and sometimes you get those penalties.
Yeah, a lot of motion and misdirection. You're right, William. So that's the first penalty of the ball game, and erases an 8-yard play that would have set Central up nicely on second down, so it's 1st and 15 now. Central from their 32-yard line. They got men in the slots as usual, and rolling, quick drop, throwing Jackson over the middle, D'Angelo Mitchell. He's got it on the crossing pattern, looks to have a first down at the 48-yard line. Good throw by quarterback Jackson.
Good throw by Fred Jackson. I want to know if we can take a look at that again. Drop back, kept his poise in the pocket, and made a good throw. Angelo made a good catch.
This afternoon's referee is George Oliver. Ken Bowden is the umpire. Mark Gentile is the linesman. Jack Spencer is the line judge, and Joe Pergandi is the back judge. 1st and 10, the Indians indeed at their own 48-yard line. Jackson on his heels, hits his target Mitchell again, this time just short of the first down, and Mitchell really took a shot in the back there.
Took a shot by number 21, Ryan Foster.
Jackson, quick drop, fires it over the middle. Hurd, plenty of running room. Straight up the gut, inside the 30 to the 26-yard line. So on 2nd and 1, the Indians strike for about 17 yards.
And Ed Sumrell on the tackle right there. And if Rico Hurd hadn't if he hadn't got Rico Hurd by the ankles, that would have been a touchdown. And I tell you, when you look at this Central offense, everybody thinks of Weathers, Jackson, and Mitchell. And Rico Hurd, only a sophomore, is an integral part of this offense as well. And people have the tendency to overlook him.
Yeah, he's a big play guy, too. 4 of his touchdowns have covered at least 31 yards. 2 have gone for over 60. And now running for daylight into the touchdown. Untouched, Andre Weathers. Easily from 26 yards away, and the Indians have scored with 3:51 to play here in the opening quarter.
And on that drive, they kept the Grand Rapids defense off balance. Pass, and all of a sudden they come back with the run, the same plays that they ran earlier in the first quarter, and it worked for them.
Good mixture, and they covered 63 yards very easily, and on for the extra point now is Tom Panoff. The sophomore. Holding will be Mitchell.
This is a classic example of speed versus power, and speed is winning so far.
And Panoff puts it through, and it's 7-0 in favor of Flint Central here.
Let's see if we can take a look at that last touchdown again after Weathers took the handoff and broke the line of scrimmage. He got excellent blocking down the sideline. In those situations where there's usually where clips and illegal use of hands come into play on the blocking downfield, the guys did an excellent job of keeping the man in front of him and making the good blocks to spring him.
Weathers have scored now 15 touchdowns. 11 of those have covered at least 25 yards, including that 26-yard scamper around left end. Give the Indians the lead along with Panoff's extra point. 7-0 Flint Central. Kicking off now will be Ray Ascenso, number 64. Puts his left foot into it. Drives the football to Zagunis at the 11. Dragged out of bounds by Jeff Nagy at the 35, maybe 6-yard line. A good run back by Zagunis, and he really had good forward blocking there to help him.
And the Central, the kick coverage team all got caught to one side, and fortunately somebody for Central came off and closed off the other side, and Nagy makes the tackle.
37-yard line. Here come the Redhawks. Out of that favorite setup of the eye, and they give it to Massenberg. Down he goes after about a yard gain, and that's really the key to bringing down such a huge individual like Calvin Massenberg, is you have to get defensive help, and the Indians have been able to do that the last couple of times Massenberg has carried the football.
That was a good tackle by Corey Phillips, and got a little help from Jamar Calvin. And anytime somebody big as Massenberg, if you can get two people there to hit him at the same time, it's all the better.
2nd and 9. Sometimes it's absolutely essential that you have at least two. Nelson running around in, getting away from one tackle and then being racked up along the sideline by 2 other Indians. Weathers and Tyrus Fowler, number 34, but it looks like Nelson might have 9 yards and a Union first down, and he certainly does out at his 48-yard line. Lloyd Nelson showing that he can shift into a speedier gear or two.
After taking a handoff, he kind of picked his way along until he found the opening and burst through, picked up the first down.
Nelson's rushed for 8 touchdowns, has a better than 6 yards per carry average. They go back to Massenberg, try to soften up that Indian defense on first down, and he gets it across midfield to the 49-yard line. You know, I can just hear Chris Berman in the far back crevices of my mind going, "You bumbles and stumbles and bumbles." And this guy would be the perfect guy for that, wouldn't he?
Oh, definitely. And that tackle last time was made by Jamar Calvin with help from D'Angelo Mitchell. And anytime your linebackers and your defensive backs are making tackles like that, you're getting beat on the line. good job by the Grand Rapids offensive line.
Partridge in motion. They give it to Nelson, and he was greeted. Corey Robinson saying, hello, how do you do? A loss of 3 back to the original line of scrimmage on this set of downs, the 48. That's one for the 1993 Indian highlight film.
Oh, definitely. Burst through Corey Robinson. Great defensive tackle.
Less than 2 minutes to go, first quarter. Union looking for that equalizing touchdown. They try to go to Zagunis on a crossing pattern again, and once again it was thrown behind him, and Weathers was right there on the defense.
This time, as the Grand Rapids offense stalls, the Indians defense bend but don't break.
Hold Union at the Red Hawk 48-yard line, and Zagunis will have to boot it away. He's standing at his 35 and waiting for his kick as the tandem of Weathers along with Mitchell. And he just shanked it. That is a shank, folks. That punt went about 5 yards to the Indian 47, and boy, the Indian players over there on the near sideline right down below us had to duck on that one.
That is exactly what that was, a shank. With the field conditions being what they are and the weather being what it is, players' shoes get wet, the ball gets wet, and
that looked like a lot of my tee shots in the golf league this summer. 47-yard line. Jackson, plenty of time. Home run ball for D'Angelo. It's up. Oh!
Almost a sensational grab by D'Angelo Mitchell.
Defenders Ryan Forster and Ed Summerall were back there defending nicely for the Red Hawks, and the pass was a little bit too high and underthrown, and D'Angelo just had to play jump ball and try and take it down, and almost did so.
That almost looked like the old alley-oop play.
Yeah. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Boy, Jackson is getting all kinds of time to throw. He has not been rushed at all on his passes, and the offensive line for the Indians doing a great job giving him pass protection. Now it's Rico. Rico turning, getting close to the first down inside the 45-yard line to about the 44. His older brother, Quito, is at Eastern Michigan playing for head football coach Ron Cooper there, and they've had a nice resurgence in the Eagle program. And then, of course, Quito and Rico's father is James Hurd, the assistant coach for Flint Central here. 3rd and 1. And Rico's just a sophomore.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who does his homework.
Talking about James?
No, talking about Mike.
I wasn't sure who you were referring to there. I thought you might have been talking about Sean or Chuck. I don't know.
Well, as an assistant
Our
coach, I'm
spotters
sure James does his homework too.
You bet. Thank you, though. I appreciate that, buddy. First down on that straight-ahead buck for the Indians.
Tackle there made by Calvin Massenberg after the pickup of the first down.
He's one of the two-way stalwarts for the Red Hawks of Scott Van Essen. Indians with the ball on the Union 40, their second foray into Red Hawk territory. Trying to get outside his Weathers, did so and did a nice job getting 2 or 3 yards that he did. He had to go east-west about 30 just to go north-south at all.
Tackle there by Lloyd Nelson as Andre Weathers does about 3 stop and goes on his way to the sideline. Good pickup, though, all on individual effort.
It'll be 2nd and 6 at the 36 of the Red Hawks with 36 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Indians lead at 7-0. They go the other way. Rico cutting it inside nicely, and he slipped and fell down as he wanted to make one more cut, just short of the first down marker at the 30. Boy, that Rico is exciting. He's certainly going to be counted upon for a lot of carries, not only in this ball game, but in his next 2 seasons for the Indians. Now the reverse with D'Angelo Mitchell. Coming up, almost taken down, and D'Angelo got away just briefly. That was Mike Hernandez who had D'Angelo in his grasp way in the Indian backfield, and somehow D'Angelo managed to shake away from him and get it to a point where they've got a good shot of converting a first down on fourth down coming up here, but the quarter has now ended, and D'Angelo turned disaster into just a bad yardage play for the Indians there.
And that was one of those plays where there wasn't a move, there wasn't anything fancy, he just stopped. And the defensive player, with all this momentum going forward, grabbed hold of him, he stopped, defensive player goes by, good job to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it really was, and it really seemed like the Grand Rapids Union defense had prepared themselves earlier in the week to look for that play and to be able to stop it when it came, and they certainly did so.
That's definitely a good job of scouting by this Union Ball Club.
7-0 our score. Flint Central going 63 yards midway
look at that.
in the first quarter. Yep. And finally converting with 3:51 to go in the opening period on that 26-yard Andre Weathers touchdown run around left end. Weathers' 15th score of the season. Flint Central averages over 30 points a game offensively. In fact, close to 40. So they are used to putting lots of points on the board, and it's really been a matchup of a team that likes to bulldoze the ball and run it inside and pound away at you in Grand Rapids against the using all of the field, both running and passing artistry of Flint Central. And they're going up the ladder and coming down with a football with a great grab is D'Angelo Mitchell on a big fourth down conversion for the Indians. He picked up 9.
And Mike Bitson made the tackle on that play, and what Mitchell did was he drove downfield as if he was going long, stopped, and Jackson just popped it right in there. Mitchell went high to make the catch. Good grab.
First and 10, fresh set of downs for the Indians at the 25 of Grand Rapids Union. And they really spread their talented backfield out, and this time it's Weathers. Around end, going down the sideline, inside the 10 to the 5. I'm not sure where Andre Weathers found the room, but he found just enough to straddle that far side tightrope for about 21 yards down to the 5-yard line.
And you see Sumrell and McCoy both make the tackle in the defensive backfield. They're getting beat on the line. There's the fake, and even the camera people was faked out on that one, as you see Weathers streak down the sideline, knocked out of bounds by number 2, Mark McCoy. Saved the touchdown.
Boy, one of the big keys, it seems to me, to stopping this Central explosive running attack is to make sure that you turn the football inside. In other words, don't let the talented Indians of Weathers, Rico Hurd and company get outside on you. Grand Rapids has only had mixed success doing that. They go to the fullback that time with the inside run. Glenn Griffin got maybe a yard to the 4.
That was one of those keep 'em honest plays.
Yep.
So we got a guy back here. You may not think we're going to use him, but we are.
We don't want you to forget about him.
The tackle was made by number 5, Calvin Massenberg, who's playing both ways today at defensive tackle and at running back.
Second and goal from the 4 for the Indians. We're on the far side hash. Fake on the counter plate. Jackson rolling. D'Angelo, touchdown! Coming down with a football just before he was smacked by Union's Ryan Forster, and D'Angelo holds on to the football, and the Indians lead it 13-0.
D'Angelo Mitchell has such great hands. Fred Jackson did a good job of rolling right, and what Mitchell did was he gave him some place to throw. When your quarterback gets in trouble, you have to give him some place to put the ball, and that's exactly what Mitchell did.
Extra point time. Mitchell holding, and Panoff puts it through. 2 for 2 for Tom Panoff in extra points. And here's the Jackson to Mitchell touchdown connection. William?
Take another look at that. Jackson rolls right, tosses out there. Mitchell, like I said, gives him some place to throw the ball. 6 points. And that's what you have to do when your quarterback gets in trouble. He runs one way, you run the same way with him, and gives him some place to put it.
Boy, and they really spread the touchdowns around on this Indian ball club beautifully. That's the 13th touchdown of the year for D'Angelo Mitchell. Weathers has scored 15 touchdowns. The quarterback, Jackson, has thrown now 20 touchdown passes, and he's run for 7 others. And then Rico Hurd, he's had several touchdowns this year. So it's a team that has so many, as they call it, weapons that can attack you. You really cannot cover them efficiently. You can't cover all of them very efficiently. Somebody has to be free that can move the ball into the end zone for the Indians.
I mean, there's like having a dam with 11 holes in it. You plug up 10 of them with 10 fingers, and it's going to leak through somewhere.
Yep. Short kick covered by Grand Rapids Union at the 45-yard line, and Grand Rapids will have good field position. Down 14-0 with 10:41 to play before halftime.
I don't know if that was an onside kick attempt to catch Union by surprise, or if it was just a bad kickoff. But if that was an onside kick attempt, Coach Ufinger definitely has great confidence in his defense.
Yep, not only that, but he may have been looking for a second quarter knockout blow of the visitors here. They go to Massenburg, and Massenburg with a yard or two up to his 47-yard line. And we're going to want to pay attention at this point, William, whether a 14-0 deficit is going to take Union out of their game plan. The Union game plan, run it straight up the middle, don't worry about the clock, soften the defense, and then maybe go with an end run or something like that. But this ball control offense does not play well when you fall behind like Union is now.
No, it doesn't, and we've seen the same thing last week in the Saginaw Arthur Hill game. Even when Central was up 20 points, Arthur Hill continued to run the ball when they needed to throw to score 20 points to win the ball game.
Yep. That time McCoy on the keeper to the far side, tackled by Braswell, the defensive end, but McCoy got good yardage, about 6, to the Indian 47-yard line. It'll set up a 3rd and 2 there for the Redhawks. Right tackle there for Union, 53, Mike Hernandez, not sure of the snap count, had to ask McCoy. They send a man in motion to the far side, and a little bumping there, but Union gets away with it, and Massenburg stumbles and rumbles and gets inside the 35 to the 34-yard line, and a first down for the Redhawks.
Good carry by Massenburg to keep his balance after running into the quarterback in the backfield. Kept his footing. Good heads-up carrying.
12-yard pickup for the huge fullback, and here it is again.
There you see Massenburg and McCoy run into each other. And Massenburg, like you said, Mike, stumbles, rumbles, and bumbles his way for a first down.
To the 35 of the Indians. Man in motion, then back again. McCoy fakes, and he's going to get almost taken down way in the backfield, and he was very fortunate to get rid of the football in the direction of Nevin Fox, the flanker, the senior for the Redhawks, incomplete and avoiding a very large loss back around the 46 or 7-yard line.
And Nagy and Braswell had him hemmed in that time, and a good job of getting rid of the football in the direction of a receiver.
2nd and 10. 6:42 to play before halftime. It's the Indians 14 and the Redhawks of Grand Rapids Union 0 in this Region 1 Class AA championship game. Winner to go to the state semifinals, and McCoy just throws it away. And once again, he was under a heavy rush as he rolled to his right from Corey Phillips and Nate Braswell.
And Braswell did a good job. Just as McCoy got ready to throw that ball, Braswell jumped in the air. And he had to bring it down and run with it. Then we take a look at Judge Duncan Beagle out enjoying some football on a Saturday afternoon.
3rd and 10 now for Union. 4 down territory the visitors are in at this point. Indians in their 4-4 setup. They give it to the big guy, Calvin Massenberg. Oh, he's got some speed. Look out!
He could go.
Oh, Massenberg! He escaped the grasp at the 2-yard line of Tyrus Fowler and moved into the end zone. 35-yard touchdown run, and I'll tell you what, I am surprised by Calvin Massenberg's speed in the open field. He can really go.
Exactly. I have never seen Massenberg play before, but looking at his size and his stats, you know he's a power runner, but he shows good speed also as he outruns number 34 right there at the end for Central, Tyrus Fowler.
35 yards for Massenberg, and booming the point through was Zagunis. So Grand Rapids has effectively shaved Flint Central's lead. It's now the Indians 14 and the Red Hawks 7 with 6:29 still to play before halftime. And this game is opening up into the type of offensive slugfest that, well, maybe many observers would have expected coming into this afternoon's play.
Well, when you look at the points per game average of both teams, as you stated earlier, Central somewhere around 35, 40 points a game, and Grand Rapids is somewhere around 40. Somewhere around 30. So you expect a high-scoring ball game. And both coaches said earlier in the week, whichever defense stops the other team's offense, that's who should win this game.
In terms of scoring, William, as you indicated, the teams are very similar. Central has scored an average of 31.4 points per game. They've given up 12.8. While the Red Hawks have scored 30.5 points per game production, and they've allowed 11.8. Zagunis, right arm raised, set to kick off here. Central moving from my left to my right here in this second period. And he kicks it to Andre Weathers at the 6. Weathers setting up his blocking. Gets away from one man and gets crunched as he crosses the 25-yard line to the 27. With 6:20 to go, it's the Indians 14 and the Red Hawks 7. We'll be right back. Well, we'll keep it here for a moment. 6:20 to play, as we stated. And the Indians back with the football, and Fred Jackson comes up to call the play.
Looking at that kickoff return by Weathers, he kind of reminds me of former Miami Hurricane kick returner Kevin Williams. Catches the ball and kind of waits around the things pick up and picks his good holes.
Counter reverse, and Rico Hurd again. Boy, one thing that Rico has really impressed me with, and this is the first time I've seen the Indians play this year, is the way that he runs straight ahead. There's no extracurricular moves on his part. When he gets the football, he runs as hard as he can straight up the field.
And he hits the hole so fast.
Yep. Pickup of about 8 for Rico. 2nd and 2. Ball on the 35-yard line on the good side of the 35 for the Indians. They go back to Rico, and he was slammed to the turf by Rory Zagunis coming in from his linebacker spot.
Good job by Zagunis. Stayed home on that play. Good tackle. 3rd down now, and let's call it 7 from the 32-yard line. Passing situation awaits the Indians. They're going to flank out Larry Kemp to the left. They haven't gone to him yet this afternoon, and D'Angelo Mitchell to the right down below me. Hurd, Weathers in the slots. Jackson straight back to throw. Floats it up there. D'Angelo has it. Falling defender. Look at D'Angelo go. Boy, they're buzzing about that one, both here in the press box and down below. A 68-yard hookup from Fred Jackson to D'Angelo Mitchell. Mark McCoy, I think it was, fell down in the Red Hawk backfield, and that was all D'Angelo Mitchell needed to take it all the way. And Jackson straight back tosses it, and you're right, McCoy fell down, and the rest is, as they say, is history.
The rest is D'Angelo. 68 yards, Mitchell's second touchdown of the afternoon, and it's 20-7 Indians now, and Panoff will try and tack on his third consecutive point after.
I tell you, if Mitchell gets to the end zone,
he doesn't get a chance to take a breath. He's got to hold.
Exactly.
Panoff is successive on 3 for 3 now, and it's the Indians 21 and the Red Hawks 7 with 6:33 to go here at Guy Houston Stadium. We'll take this timeout.
National studies show that students who participate in high school activities, like music, sports, and drama, not only have better grades and attendance, they develop the character to handle adversity, the grace to accept defeat, and the self-confidence to start over.
The Pistons, the Golden State Warriors. Chris Webber's only Michigan appearance Sunday, November 28th. Pistons game night at 6:30. Game time 7 p.m. Are you watching? Only if you have cable. The Detroit Pistons and the Michigan Cable Television Association bring you this exclusive free cable cast.
Catch the Pistons and the Golden State Warriors only on Comcast Channel 17.
We're limited by our textbook.
We learn even better if we read it and we see it and somehow experience it. What I do with video is one day a week, I find something usually from Cable in the Classroom, some of the programming from looking in the Cable in the Classroom magazine.
Right now, local cable companies across America are providing schools with commercial-free cable television, creating new ways to help students learn, help teachers teach. Cable in the Classroom, television supporting education.
Back here at Guy Houston Stadium. Guy Houston, we believe to be the first coach inducted into the Michigan High School Football Hall of Fame. And Flint Central has restored their 14-point second quarter lead with a long touchdown pass, catch and run from quarterback Fred Jackson to wide out D'Angelo Mitchell. Mitchell's second touchdown of the afternoon. Getting a good kickoff return coming back was Mark McCoy down his own sideline. So McCoy maybe a little aroused after falling down on the D'Angelo Mitchell touchdown reception, looking to make up for it on the kickoff return there.
And sometimes when you have a kickoff that's like that, the person receiving the kickoff doesn't make a clean catch, it throws off the timing of the coverage team. And that's exactly what happened there, as McCoy was able to pick the ball up and make good yardage out to almost just over the 45-yard line.
Let's call it the 46, 1st and 10, Grand Rapids, and they give it to Massenberg, and Massenberg just dragging tacklers across midfield to the 48-yard line, and he carried Jamar Calvin 2 or 3 yards right along with him, and Calvin was just holding on to the ankles and waiting for help.
That's what you have to do. You like a quote when somebody said, "How do you stop Michael Jordan?" You said you grab his cape and holler for help, and that's what that's what Calvin did that time. Grabbed hold of Massenberg and said, "Hey fellas, come on, give me a hand."
On the option play. And cut down beautifully by D'Angelo Mitchell was Lloyd Nelson trying to swing it wide.
Good tackle by D'Angelo Mitchell in the open field, coming up to make the big hit. Here we take another look. McCoy makes the pitch. You see Mitchell come across, stick his helmet in there. Good open field tackle. I tell you one thing, some people think these kids go both ways. Like a Mitchell, who's a wide receiver and also a defensive back, may stand back there and wait for interceptions, but he'll come up and make the hit.
They go back to Massenberg, and he goes over right tackle Mike Hernandez and gets the first down on 3rd and 2. And boy, what a valuable guy to have, as He's trying to get his Grand Rapids followers pumped up there by lowering and raising his arms, getting the first down there. On a 3rd and short situation, I can't imagine a better play to call than simply to put it in the midsection of Calvin Massenberg. And they shoot it over the middle and incomplete. No, we could have an interference call coming up on D'Angelo Mitchell. Person-to-person coverage on wideout Nevin Fox.
Here we go. We're going to take another look at that. I thought they both...
If there was contact, it certainly wasn't overly physical.
Yeah, there you go.
They're going to mark it off. Looks to be 15 yards, and that'll give Grand Rapids an automatic first down at the 25 of the Indians. So the penalty hurts the Indians, but it's not fatal. 4:23 to play, first half, and Grand Rapids moving back down the field after getting an excellent kickoff return from quarterback Mark McCoy. McCoy sends a man in motion who lines up at the right end and sprints right inside on the option play, and banging him from behind was Nate Braswell, but Braswell's hit drove McCoy another 3 yards further down toward the goal line, and another first down for Grand Rapids Union, a pickup of 13 for the quarterback McCoy.
It's good inside running by McCoy.
He runs that option well, both in terms of his judgment, knowing when to turn the ball upfield and keep the football, and when to pitch it. He also executes that pitch well. 1st and 10 from the 13. McCoy hands off inside to Massenberg, and Calvin gets it close to the 10-yard line before he was stopped.
Massenberg a little slow getting up after that play.
Yeah, referee George Oliver had to give him a hand there. And some newcomers into the Indian lineup on 2nd and 8. Tevon Love and Damon Redmond in the lineup. And we've got a timeout taken by Joe Eufinger's Indians. Some confusion. There may have been one too many players on the defensive side for Flint Central there. So the Indians wisely, instead of absorbing a penalty, will take a timeout here with 3:31 to play before halftime, leading at 21-7 over the visiting Redhawks.
Unfortunately, they have themselves in a position where they could take a timeout at this point in the game and not affect them.
Right. Yeah, when you're 2 touchdowns ahead, you have the luxury of being able to use an extra timeout, make an extra substitution to see how a player will perform in a particular situation. In other words, do some extra things that you may not ordinarily have an opportunity to do if you're a coach. Grand Rapids Union, they've defeated only one team that played 500 ball this year. In other words, 5 or more wins, and they beat them twice. Their coach, Scott Van Essen, his first season at the Red Hawk helm was just 3-6. But boy, did they put everything together this year, didn't they, William?
They definitely did, and he said it was done by spending time in the weight room and senior leadership.
2nd and 8. They try Nelson this time, and Nelson is strung out as he tries to go around his end, and a good job done by Jamar Calvin, and he got help from Braswell again, and boy, we've been mentioning Nate a lot this afternoon.
We sure have, and a good job by Calvin to come up from his linebacker spot and make the hit.
Braswell didn't even start defensively for the Indians this afternoon, but boy, is he making his presence felt. 3rd and 7 from the 10. Escaping the rushes, McCoy flanks it out there, and down close to first down territory on the far side was Nevin Fox, the wideout, and it looks like he might have it all. I'm sure they'll measure. He was bounced out of bounds right around the 3. Good throw on the run by McCoy.
It was McCoy and just like Jackson and D'Angelo Mitchell hooked up earlier, same thing. McCoy rolls right and
Fox.
Yeah, Nevin Fox follows him to the same side, and they make the connection. Knocked out of bounds there by Rico Hurd.
Boy, and who can control the line of scrimmage here?
I think everybody in the stadium knows who's getting the ball. Well, I guess.
Oh, did they draw the Indians off? McCoy barking out the signals, and his cadence may have caught the Indians.
I think somebody along the defense line moved forward and bumped helmets with one of the Union players.
That's exactly what it was, William. Half the distance to the goal and gives the Red Hawks a 1st and goal at about the 2, so they didn't even have to give it to Massenburg on 4th and inches from the 3. Well, I don't think they changed the play call at all this time.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Let's see which way Massenburg goes here. He's the up man, number 5. He goes over his right guard and tackle and bangs into the end zone for the score. He went over center Chris Wowie, Brandon Metalowitz, the right guard, and right tackle Mike Hernandez cleared the way, and Massenburg bangs in for his 2nd touchdown of the quarter, and it's now a 21-13 ball game with 2:44 still to play before halftime. We've had 4 second quarter touchdowns by these two schools. Blocked! Zagunis' point after was snuffed out. I'm not sure who got the football. It could have been George Gaddis, and also there was Garland Walker with a couple of teammates.
Yep, I think it was 77 Big George Gaddis. Good penetration on the PAT. It makes the block. And this second quarter has been blow for blow.
Yeah, it really has. Both teams answering with touchdowns, and neither team flinching. There's the end of the second Massenburg touchdown from 2 yards away, we'll call it. So it's 21-13, and that extra point block by George Gaddis, whose father Eli, we're told, played with the New Orleans Saints of the National League, could prove to be very important as this game moves along. At the very least, it'll force Union to go for a 2-point conversion attempt somewhere along the way. And the Indians cover up that low kick designed by Rory Zagunis at the 37-yard line. Or, excuse me, not father, but brother Eli played for the Saints. I'm corrected.
I tell you, there's a lot of family connections on this Flint Central Ball Club. Fred Jackson, who's the quarterback for Central, father coach at University of Michigan also.
Good point, William. It's very interesting. Fred Jackson treats his offensive linemen at the place where he's employed, the Ponderosa Restaurant on Court Street, and as is tradition for this unbeaten team in 1993, they sat down to a dinner at Ponderosa last night, and I'm sure football was the main topic of conversation and how they were going to attack the Red Hawks.
I tell you, Mike, in mentioning that, now everybody that watches this game is going to promise to go out for the football team next year is going to want a free dinner. Here's some interesting facts about the Flint Central Indians. They have now won 11 straight games over 2 years, which is a new school record.
Yeah, we talked about this being the best team in the history of Flint Central. The 47 team went unbeaten, and there's been so many great athletes that have come through Flint Central, but none have had the privilege and the pleasure of being a part of an unbeaten football program. And we talked about Fred Jackson and his University of Michigan connection with his father, and then of course the work that he does at Ponderosa and the camaraderie he develops with his teammates there. Throw out to D'Angelo Mitchell, and he was stuck by Ryan Forster, the defensive back, coming up to say hello after a pickup of about 3.
And I'm sure when Mitchell went up to make that catch, Forster's eyes just lit up.
Yep. He was determined that D'Angelo wasn't going to get free for another of his patented long touchdown runs. Here it is.
Yeah, you have to get to him and get to him early. There you see Jackson wings it out. That was a pretty long throw. If Forster had got off the blocks a little earlier, he had a chance to break that up or get INT.
2nd and 7. Jackson, boy, he's been getting great protection all afternoon long. Flings it up there, and having a better chance at the football was Lloyd Nelson. The pass intended for Larry Kemp. And Jackson has those receivers open on the fly pattern. He's just underthrowing the football so far.
Yeah, he just couldn't get the ball out there far enough. If he had, that definitely had 6 written all over it, and a good job by Nelson to break that up.
Kemp, as D'Angelo Mitchell did in the first quarter, had a couple of steps at least on his trailing Union defenders. Jackson just has to let go of that ball earlier. They put now Weathers in the slot. Rico Hurd is in the slot near the left end. They give it to Rico. Rico, lots of running room. Midfield, breaks a tackle. Along the near side to the 35-yard line goes Rico Hurd, a pickup of 23 yards for the Indians.
And Mark McCoy makes the tackle, and I tell you, good job, because Rico was throwing some moves over there on the sideline.
Yep. Here it is again. It's Rico time.
And I think he got there's a good block at the line of scrimmage. I can't see who made that. And there you go. He was definitely making some moves to get around McCoy.
Jackson. Across the middle, and oh, what a hit, but hanging onto the football somehow was Rico Hurd at the 15-yard line. 20 yards from Jackson to Hurd, and was he ever blasted.
And Summerall comes up and makes a good hard hit, and what happened was when Hurd made that catch and Summerall hit him, he actually pressed the ball into Hurd's chest, so
actually ensuring that Hurd would hang on to the football.
Exactly.
They split Kemp out wide left. They put Hurd in motion. Jackson flips it out to Hurd. 10-yard line, 5, touchdown! Rico Hurd, just as Joe Eufinger and his assistants designed it.
I tell you, that's just how you draw it up on the chalkboard, Mike, as you stated. I tell you, man, I can't even get my words out here.
15-yard touchdown pass. Jackson to Rico Hurd, and Rico Hurd joins the Indian offensive party here in the first half with 1:03 to play. Here it is again.
Jackson rolls right, just tosses it out there. Defense is a little late. Touchdown Central.
And now 4 for 4 on his extra points. And it's a 28-13 ball game now.
I tell you, Mike, this Flint Central offense, I'm not sure if the plays are designed to who to go where, when, or whatever the case may be, or if it's the fact that everybody goes somewhere, get open, or whatever the case may be, it works.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, Fred Jackson throws a very soft football, very easy to catch, and on those medium range passes, whether it's a crossing route over the middle or a flare to either sideline, he's leading his receivers beautifully. 15-yard touchdown pass. Jackson, his third touchdown pass of the afternoon already, this time to Rico Hurd. The drive covering 63 yards, and Central once again marches straight down the field. Their offense is in high gear indeed. Once again, kind of a squib kick, and falling on it is Union's Matt Partridge at the 35-yard line. So Union still has 101 to play with here in the second quarter, a quarter where we've seen no less, William, than 5 touchdowns.
From the looks of it, 101 is definitely enough time to score.
We almost expect to see scouts maybe from the Flint Northwestern girls basketball team, or maybe a scout from the Detroit Pistons coming back from the West Coast to take notes here. Talk about a couple of scoring machines we've seen here. There's a flare pass to Zagunis. He's got running room. Oh, he was taken down by the arm as he crossed the 40-yard line, but it really looked like Zagunis might have been off to the races for Grand Rapids Union. As it was, Rory got 8. Union immediately calls timeout with 38 seconds left on the first half clock. Down and to my right.
And Jamar Calvin got in there on that tackle and attempted to knock that ball out of the hands of Zagunis. Good strength and awareness to hold on to that football.
Yep. It'll be 2nd and 1 when we come back as the Indian Marching Band gets prepared to make their presentation, walking along the track which rings Guy Houston Stadium here, right down below the scoreboard clock.
I tell you, this Indian Marching Band can make some noise. They were down below us and they're banging the drums, and I thought it was somebody up on top stomping or somebody in here stomping for the Indians, but no, it was the marching band. There you see that little flare out to Zagunis, picked up some good blocks, and there you see Calvin making that tackle on the end there.
And I really like the way Union set up that play. It's kind of a swing/screen pass to Zagunis, where he has plenty of linemen blocking ahead of him, and Zagunis, with that blocking, almost broke that one all the way. 2nd and 1 now, 44-yard line, the Red Hawks operate. Play action, McCoy trying to float it in there to Nevin Fox, and right in front of Fox, almost latching onto the football. Coming back on the coverage was linebacker Jeff Nagy.
I tell you, after that ball went off at Nagy's fingertips, Fox still had a chance to make that play, but the presence of Nagy just broke his concentration enough, floats out of bounds. There you see McCoy back, makes a good toss. And Nagy comes in to break it up.
Play action, reverse. Zagunis looking to throw on the halfback. Gotcha. He's
wide open. And he blocked it. Oh, Heartbreak City.
Rory Zagunis threw that ball about 55 yards in the air, and I didn't get the feeling like he aired it out as much as he could have. What an arm the 6'5" tight end Zagunis has.
He definitely hurled that one out there. Oh, man. That had 6 written all over it.
Now, Union has to be a little bit careful here. They want to convert the first down on 4th and a yard with just 23 seconds to go. They want to keep Central's offense off the field here for the rest of the half, and they give it to Madsen Burke, and he breaks away from the interior Central defensive line into the secondary and goes all the way to the Indian 42. Union will use another timeout here as the chains move forward.
And Jeff Nagy makes the tackle there, and that was essentially, that defensive play, Central essentially played 8 people because the 3 defensive backs from the last play were walking back up the field, and Union's lined up and ready to go. If Central makes that stop at the line of scrimmage on 4th down, that gives them 17 seconds on a change of possession to possibly score again.
Yeah. Pickup of 14 yards there for Massenberg, and he's had himself an excellent first half rushing the football, and of course helped out quite a bit by his 35-yard touchdown run midway through the second quarter, which made it a 14-7 ball game at that juncture. 28-13 our score right now. The Indians over the Red Hawks. Winners of the Grand Rapids City League, Grand Rapids Union against the winner of the Flint City League Championship and the Saginaw Valley Conference Championship, the Flint Central Indians. Glad to have you along with us. Mike Gutowski, William McNeil doing the commentary for you today. Calvin McCoy Mark McCoy throws it in there and has his man. That's Matt Partridge, and Partridge was smacked right down, I believe, by Garland Walker.
And as you see, Coach Joe Ufinger on the sideline telling his DBs, hey, 15 yards, 15 yards.
Clock ran out before Grand Rapids Union could work the ball into scoring position for even a field goal try. So the Union drive aborted at the 36-yard line of the Indians, and we have played one half of football here at Guy Houston Stadium, the Class AA Region 1 State High School Football Championship on the line as we watch the Grand Rapids Union team file into their locker room below the stands, right down below us. It's the Flint Central Indians 28 and the Grand Rapids Union Redhawks 13. We'll be back and get our halftime activities started for you right after you watch this.
The Pistons, the Golden State Warriors. Chris Webber's only Michigan appearance Sunday, November 28th. Pistons game night at 6:30. Game time 7 p.m. Are you watching? Only if you have cable. The Detroit Pistons and the Michigan Cable Television Association bring you this exclusive free cable cast.
Catch the Pistons and the Golden State Warriors only on Comcast Channel 17.
I can talk about the anatomy of a structure, but when they actually see it on tape,
something that captures the attentions of the students and brings them to far and remote places.
And you can't really get that anywhere else but from cable television.
In a partnership of resources and technology, Cable in the Classroom, working with national cable networks, local cable systems, and America's schools, makes education come alive, promoting independent creative thinkers. Cable in the Classroom, television supporting education.
Jerks. Hold on, what's that? Hey! Nice stinking work.
Would you act like this at a high school game? If you were the only fan in the stands?
Nice way to play. That's beautiful.
Next time, pretend you are.
Back here at Guy Houston Stadium, Mike Kachowski, William McNeil, sideline reporter Greg Tunnicliffe with you. Our halftime score at Guy Houston, Flint Central 28 and Grand Rapids Union 13 in this Region 1 Class AA State High School Football Championship game. It was 7-0 after one quarter as Flint Central got the only touchdown of the first stanza, a 63-yard drive, capped off by a 26-yard Andre Weathers run around left end, Weathers' 15th touchdown run of the season, and it was 7-0 Indians with 3:51 left to go in the first quarter. And then all of a sudden, we had a second quarter shooting duel between the Redhawks of Grand Rapids Union and the Indians of Flint Central. It began rather innocently enough at the 10:45 mark of the second quarter, as Grand Rapids Union comes back out onto the natural turf here at Guy Houston Stadium, as quarterback Fred Jackson hit D'Angelo Mitchell with a 4-yard touchdown pass to make it 14-0, Mitchell's 13th touchdown of the season. And then Grand Rapids came right back. Calvin Massenberg, their huge 270-pound fullback, went 35 yards for the score to put Grand Rapids Union on the board and make it 14-7 after the point after. Then later on in that second quarter, at the 6:33 mark of the second period, we're watching a touchdown pass. This would be, I believe, the touchdown, the third Flint Central touchdown that made it 21-7, Jackson to D'Angelo Mitchell. And then Grand Rapids came right back on their possession, and Massenberg nailed down their second score with a 2-yard run, but George Gaddis made a big extra point block of Zagunis's conversion kick, and that made it 21-13 with 2:44 to play before halftime. And then Flint Central for the way their offense can explode and put points on the board in a hurry. 2:44, 2.5 minutes left to go before halftime was an eternity to work with, and they scored with 1 minute 3 seconds to spare, and they nailed down that score with a 15-yard touchdown pass from Jackson to Rico Hurd. So Jackson with 3 touchdown passes in that first half of play alone. 28-13, the Indians over Grand Rapids Union. And now at this point, let's go down to our sideline reporter, Greg Tunnicliffe. Greg?
Thanks, Mike, and welcome back, everyone. We are at halftime of the Grand Rapids Union Flint Central Regional Championship game. The Indians are on top 28-13. And when you look back at the past playoff appearances by these two schools, you see a tale of two different stories. Grand Rapids Union, on one hand, is making its first ever appearance in the state playoffs. They are 1-0. The Indians, on the other hand, are old veterans at this game. They are making their third appearance in the state playoffs. Their record is 2-2. The farthest the Flint Central team has gone in the playoffs is the state semifinals. That was back in 1985 when the Indians were led by none other than former Michigan pitcher and current New York Yankee, Jim Abbott. The skies have cleared. It's getting better out right now. The sun's trying to come out, and we're getting set for the first half. Second half, excuse me. Let's send it back up now to Mike and Will for the second half. Gentlemen.
Thoughts? We know that Central can put points on the board in bushels. Grand Rapids Union tends to play a little bit more of a ball control type game. But 5 touchdowns in the second quarter, or in one quarter in any game, certainly makes eyes pop, and certainly that was the situation here. We have both teams out on the football field. Grand Rapids, to my right, is getting instructions from their head football coach, second-year man Scott Van Essen, who turned around a 3-6 program in his inaugural year in 1992 into a spotless 10-0 slate here in 1993. The Indians have just finished their halftime calisthenics under the tutelage of Coach Joe Eufinger in his 18th year. Eufinger has won 65% of his games at the Central helm, and he got his 100th win earlier this year. Here are your referees this afternoon. George Oliver, the referee, and then Ken Bowden, the umpire, head linesman Mac Gentile, linesman Jack Spencer, and Joe Pergandy, the back judge. Grand Rapids Union will be getting the football to start the second half. And for Grand Rapids Union to get back in the football game, they talked about earlier in the week how important it was to keep that highly explosive Central offense off the football field. They really need to do that, and I think with the opening possession of this second half, William.
Yeah, Coach Van Essen said, you know, with all the weapons that Central has offensively, they're going to have to play great defense, but their best defense will be their offense controlling the football, and that's what you have to do. If you keep a team like this Flint Central Ball Club, if you keep the offense on the sideline for an extended period of time, they can't get in to score all of those touchdowns.
Kicking off is Ray Asenso, and he kicks it to Zagunis. Rory Zagunis. And he is thwacked down at the 30-yard line, and collaring him was Corey Phillips, number 42.
Corey Phillips comes out and makes the first hit of this second half for this Indian Ball Club. We have a player shaken up also.
Let's take a look at that Red Hawk offense if we can get that up as the referee takes a timeout. While we have a moment, we certainly want to wish the Flint Powers Catholic Chargers and their head football coach, Bill Tucker, all the luck as they play concurrently at Mount Pleasant High School against Sheboygan in the state Class BB Region 1 High School Football Championship. And Powers, congratulations to their girls basketball team, winning the Big Nine Conference Girls Basketball Championship over the Dragons of Swartz Creek as we watch Calvin Massenberg, the big fullback number 5, carry on first down. Or rather, that was the quarterback McCoy, beg your pardon. And we've got another player shaken up, this time for the Indians.
That was Tyvon Love who made that tackle. Can't see who the player down is.
Let's take a look at replay here.
I think the ball came loose in there somewhere. Yeah, it was. McCoy ran into the back of one of his linemen and dropped the football. Fortunately for Grand Rapids, they recovered.
Yeah, it was hard to see in that tangle of bodies there with a lot of black jerseys of the Indians right around McCoy and that football. For the Grand Rapids Union Red Hawk offense, the tight end is Ed Summerall, number 3. The left tackle, Andy Dosser, 63. The right tackle, Mike Hernandez, 53. Rich Van Zyl, number 76, is the left guard. The right guard, Brandon Metalowitz, number 60. The center, number 51, Chris Wowie. The quarterback, number 2, Mark McCoy. Massenberg, number 5, the fullback. Nelson, number 6, the halfback or tailback. And Matt Partridge is the flanker, number 19, as once again, Union almost loses the football, and falling on that football was the fullback, Calvin Massenberg.
And as we just caught the tail end of that play, the pile up there, we had a chance to look at the other fumble again, and Grand Rapids mishandles the ball on second down, which brings up a 3rd and 10. Not the way you want to start off the second half.
Nope, they're having trouble getting the ignition started here in the second half. They're going to go to the air. Throwing it out there. No. Excellent coverage. Blanketing flanker Nevin Fox back there was D'Angelo Mitchell, number 80. Set up 4th down.
Good coverage by D'Angelo Mitchell out there. When you're a receiver as well as a defensive back, it definitely helps. There you see McCoy back, just flings it out there, and if he had lofted it maybe a little more instead of putting it on such a line, it could have been a reception.
There's the kick by Zagunis, and he hits a long one.
Oh!
It goes past Andre Weathers and rolls into the end zone, and it will be a touchback. So the Indians will take it at their own 20, 1st and 10.
And I tell you, I think the Indians got a break on that, because I think that ball actually touched Weathers' hands as it went by. See if we can take another look at that.
There is some yelling going on down below us, I hear.
And it rolls into the end zone, and I'm not sure, after a punt, I think the ball has to be covered one way or the other.
Yep. So here come the Indian offense. Fred Jackson, the quarterback, number 12, will try and show that offense to you on your screen after this play. Fake to Hurd on the counter, Andre Weathers. So effective early in the ball game, breaks a couple of tackles and gets it out to his 26-yard line for 6.
That tackle there made by number 6, Lloyd Nelson.
The Indian offense reads this way. The split end, D'Angelo Mitchell, number 80. 68, and there's the Grand Rapids Union defense. We'll look at that first. Gay, Johnson, Massenberg, Hernandez, Steeland is the leading tackler for the Red Hawks. Bitson, Zagunis, Forster, Nelson, Lewandowski, and Ed Summerall round out the secondary for the Red Hawks. Straight up the middle goes the fullback, Glenn Griffin, and Griffin is close to first down range as he approaches the 30-yard line. Let's see if we can't get that Indian offense up now for you.
That was a good job by Griffin holding on to that football, because Calvin Massenberg at 6'1", 270 was trying to rip it out of there.
Mitchell, Clements, and Gaddis are the tackles. Eckel and Braswell are the guards. Randy Scott is the center, number 50. The other end is Larry Kemp, 83. Jackson, Griffin, Weathers, and Hurd is the rest of the Indian backfield on 3rd down and inches. They give it straight ahead. Andre Weathers looks to have the first down as he bucks across his 31-yard line. He was tackled by Tim Steeland, leading the Red Hawk charge. And they may measure out at the 31.
And I think they are going to call for a measurement.
I'm really surprised by this because the line of scrimmage on this set of downs should have been the 20. And they've crossed the 30-yard line. It should be a first down without question.
Actually, it should have, and I seen it call similar to that in a football game this week also, where the line of scrimmage was the 20. They measured it. It ended up short, and the official said, hey, the line of scrimmage was the 20-yard line. They're over the 30. That's a first.
So Weathers gets the first down. 31-yard line, the Indians operate, and they send Mitchell out to the right and Kemp to the left and Hurd in motion. 3 receivers downfield. They flip it out there to Andre Weathers, and he was immediately smacked by Rory Zagunis, snipping that out beautifully and tagging Weathers for a loss back to his 27-yard line, loss of 4.
As Zagunis made that tackle as if one of the Indian ball players had left their playbook in the airport.
Second and 14 at the 27-yard line. Jason Turner in the ball game for the Indians. He's wide left. Man in the slot across the way too. Mitchell on the near side right down below us. On the counter play, nothing doing for Rico Hurd, and it's becoming increasingly apparent that the Red Hawks made some excellent halftime adjustments defensively.
That tackle was made by number 5, Calvin Massenberg, and that's what you have to do. Your game plan is one thing, and when you come on, the game actually starts, sometimes you have to alter your game plan, but you get a chance to go in at halftime and sit down and talk in length about the adjustments you want to make, and so far this Union Ball Club has made the adjustments they needed to make.
Union really splits out their defensive line. They go with a 4-man front, and they're blitzing Zagunis on the weak side and just throwing it up for grabs in the direction of Mitchell, and he wasn't quite able to come down with a football as he was hit just as he touched the ball at the 45-yard line, right around there, by Brian Forster. And Forster has done some head knocking in the defensive backfield for the visitors this afternoon.
Yeah, Jackson got in a little trouble right there, and he tossed a floater out there and was hoping somebody would come down with it. That looked like one of those as good as a punt tosses.
So the Indians, after getting an initial first down here in the third quarter, forced to kick it away. Andre Weathers standing at his 15, and low squib kick. And fortunately for the Indians, it bounces their way. Finally draws to a stop at the 47-yard line of Grand Rapids Union. So a kick of only 26 yards, no return. So Union in excellent field position, let's call it the 48-yard line. First down. 7:03 to go here in the third quarter, and with Union down by 15 points, it's really not too early to talk about time becoming increasingly the ally of the Indians and the nemesis of the Red Hawks. Quick drop.
Oh, what a catch!
Rory Zagunis going behind his body with his left hand, hauls it in, clutches it against his side while running straight ahead, and gets it all the way down to the 34-yard line of the Indians for 16.
Rico Hurd makes the tackle, and he has to be equally amazed as that catch by Zagunis. We'll take a look at that play right after this.
From the 34 of the Indians. Fake to Massenberg. Nelson, and he is knocked to the turf, maybe for a loss by Jeff Nagy.
Here we go, Mike, as we take another look at that one-hand grab by Rory Zagunis.
Second down, let's call it 11 now. Union at the 35 of the Indians. Out of the I formation with Lloyd Nelson, the tailback, and they give it to Massenberg straight ahead, and he barrels forward inside the 30, falling to maybe the 27-yard line. He's going to be a couple yards shy of that first down marker still, though.
And this time Jeff Nagy brings down Big Calvin Massenberg.
Third down, let's call it 3 to go at the 27-yard line. Single wide out. That's Nevin Fox on the left side. And they give it inside to Massenberg, and he is pulled down short of the first down as the Indians showing excellent pursuit. Plenty of team help there and bringing down Massenberg. Getting up off the pile was Jeff Nagy along with George Gaddis, number 77, the outside linebacker. Also Nate Bratswell in on the stop. 4th and 2 now. Ball on the 26-yard line of the Indians. Big play here with 4:50 to play, third quarter. Union needs to convert to stay in this football game. Down 28-13 to the Indians.
Guess who?
Massenberg, nope. McCoy following, looks to have the first down with that last hurdle.
Good second effort. I think they're going to come out for a measurement. The Indian ball players will say, hey, no need.
Good job of faking, keeping the ball in the belly of Massenberg until the very last instant, reading the line of scrimmage as he moved along the line of scrimmage was McCoy, and McCoy made an excellent decision and should have enough for the first down at the 24-yard line of the Indians.
Oh,
no.
What a spot. Central gets a break.
Quarterback McCoy takes a second long look at the chain being strung out, and it shows the Red Hawks are short. The Indians take over on down.
And they were probably short by about 2 inches.
Oh, it was close.
Get out the index card.
A huge turnaround for the Indians. They have the football, the lead, and the clock all on their side now with 4:25 to play here in the third quarter. Hurd in motion. The give to Hurd. Plenty of excellent blocking ahead of him, and Rico Hurd moves it out smartly to the 33-yard line. Good forward blocking there by the Indians. Their entire offensive line, but special mention to Bratswell, Gaddis, and Larry Kemp on the right side of that offensive line.
And looking at the interesting fact for the Indians, the version of the Big Hurt. D'Angelo Mitchell has scored 12 touchdowns, 6 of which covered 25 or more yards, 3 which were 60 or more yards.
2nd and 1 at the 33 for the Indians. Straight up the middle, and the fullback Glenn Griffin gets the first down across his 35 to the 36-yard line. And now Joe Eufinger and his Indians want to play some ball control.
Lloyd Nelson comes up to make that hit from his defensive back position. Andre Weathers has scored 14 TDs with 10 covering at least 25 or more yards, 4 covered at least 50 yards, and 2 covered 60 plus.
They spread everything out. It's a very exciting offensive attack that Central employs, and once again it's Rico Hurd, and Massenberg with help from Mike Bitson took him down.
I tell you, Central is ahead in this ball game 28-13 with just under 3 minutes to play, excuse me. But right now it's run the clock offense. Not the big scoring that they were doing earlier in the second quarter, but they're going to throw when it's necessary. But most of all, they will have the clock on their side.
What do they say? Turnabout is fair play. If you play ball control, I'll see how you defend against it. Andre Weathers breaks a tackle at the 42-yard line and scampers forward to the 45. He's close to another Indian first down, about a yard, maybe 2 shy.
And Lloyd Nelson again from the defensive back position comes up to make the tackle. And when your DBs are making tackles like that, you're losing the battle on the line of scrimmage. Good job by this Flint Central offensive line to open up some holes.
He got help from outside linebacker Mike Hernandez on that play, and Hernandez, slow to get up, walks back slowly to the Red Hawk sideline.
And taking a look at the file of Fred Jackson, he has run for 7 TDs, thrown for 19, 11 which have gone for 25 or more yards, 6 which have gone for 50 or more yards. He's definitely a double threat.
Fred Jackson looks over the Red Hawk 5-man defensive front, gave it away to Griffin, and Griffin was stopped short of the first down right at the line of scrimmage.
There's some late
Got a penalty flag down, one of the rare penalty flags we've seen. I think that's only the second of the afternoon. And it's going to be against Central. They're talking to the Union defensive captain right now.
Illegal motion. And last but not least, this Flint Central offense, number 13, Rico Hurd, 4 of his TDs have covered at least 31 yards. 2 have gone for 60 plus, including a 81-yard TD reception last week.
So it'll set the Indians back to the 40-yard line. 3rd and 7 now from there.
Excuse me, Mike. We take another look at that, and I didn't see the illegal motion. We just got the tail end of the play, but that bags them up, and I think it's safe to say they'll be throwing this time.
Central doesn't mind this kind of 3rd and long situation. In fact, they have many times thrived on it this year. Jackson rolling left, wide open down the field, taking care to grab the football and bring it in was number 88, Jason Turner. Big gainer, and Central keeps possession of the football for a fresh set of downs, well into Red Hawk territory at the 38-yard line.
And the quarterback, defensive back, Mark McCoy, comes up to make the hit on Jason Turner. Good job by Turner, because he, knowing the importance of the down and the catch, he made sure he got hold of that football first before he tried anything else.
Boy, Fred Jackson, what a luxury he has as a quarterback. He has so many options to go to. Weathers, D'Angelo Mitchell, Hurd, Jason Turner. There's 1 or 2 others that he can go to, all with great success. Now on the option play is Jackson himself moving along the far sideline. 15, cuts it back.
Oh, what a move! What a
Freddie Jackson goes 38 yards on the option play.
And Andre Weathers throws a key block out there on the sideline to spring him too. This Flint Central Indian Ball Club is rolling.
As you mentioned, William, he had great forward blocking on that play, and once he got into the open field, he displayed his running artistry.
Here we take another look at it. Fakes to Hurd, Weather gets out in front, throws a block right there. I think that was on number 6. And the rest is individual effort. Touchdown, Fred Jackson.
Here's the kick. Mitchell with a hold, and slipping on the extra point was Panoff, and the ball flies below the crossbar. No good, so it stays 34-13 in favor of the Indians with 1.5 minutes exactly to play in the 3rd quarter. An Indian march of 76 yards in 7 plays. Capped off by that 38-yard touchdown run by Fred Jackson, and what a game he is having this afternoon. He's thrown for 3 scores and now run for a 4th.
And there you take a look at the crowd here. Great crowd we got on hand, as we've had for the last 3 ball games that we've done here.
And on a day which started as mild but overcast, misty and kind of drizzly, we are now seeing the sky dotted with blue. The sun coming out, and at about the same time, the Flint Central Indians getting their offense back into gear here in the second half. 34-13, Indians over the Red Hawks now with 1:30 to play here in the 3rd. Kickoff by Ray Asensio. End over end this time, at the 18-yard line, Ryan Forster gets it up to his 30. Plenty of players there helping out on the Indian kickoff team with the tackle.
I tell you, this Grand Rapids Union Ball Club stresses ball control, and they're gonna have to put the ball in the air. Plain and simple. They're gonna have to throw to score 21 points on this club.
McCoy looks over his backfield, 1st and 10, just over his 30. Zagunis. Oh, what a play! Fending off the block and dropping Zagunis for about a 4-yard loss was Jeff Nagy. Reading the play all the way, not being suckered in by the misdirection to the far side of the field, waiting for big number 12 all the way, fighting off the block of Union's Brandon Metalowitz, and then making the tackle himself on Zagunis.
And here we take another look. There's the handoff. There's the pitch, rather. Nagy stays home, fights off the block, and makes a great open field tackle.
The defensive play of the game by Jeff Nagy. Now McCoy throwing, getting it inside on the crossing route to Zagunis, and Zagunis gets it back to the original line of scrimmage at the 31-yard line, but that's it.
Jamar Calvin in on the tackle. I tell you, Calvin and Nagy and and some of these other guys have just made great defensive plays this game.
They really have. And the one thing that I notice is that the Indians are not missing tackles. They are making their tackles very secure right now. The Red Hawks are not getting any extra yardage due to any shotting tackling on the part of the Indians. McCoy, home run ball, throws it way down there.
Oh, what a catch!
And the touchdown by Matt Partridge. That one covered 69 yards. Right there on the coverage, I believe, was Rico Hurd, but you really can't fault Rico. It's just an outstanding effort by the flanker, Matt Partridge of the Red Hawks.
Good defensive play, but just a better offensive play. There you see McCoy airs it out. And Hurd went to knock the ball down, but just mistimed his jump. 6 points for the Red Hawks.
And that's exactly what the Red Hawks needed to do, was to get a touchdown back in a hurry. And the third quarter clock has run out. We're going to see the two-point conversion try at this point, as you see what happened with the Indians and the Red Hawks in state playoff action last week. They go to Massenberg trying to bull his way for the two-point conversion, and yes, indeed. Oh, is he stoked up. Exchanging high fives with his quarterback McCoy, and all of a sudden we've got a fresh ball game as the third quarter draws to a close. 34-21 our score now.
There you see Big Massenberg stood up right at the goal line, but a good second effort and he gets in.
He was not to be denied. That was just a matter of him really willing the ball into the end zone. A three-play, 69-yard drive there by Grand Rapids Union. Of course, the big play, the electric connection between quarterback McCoy and wideout Partridge. Well, both of these teams has been tit for tat. Flint Central has the explosion, the explosive attack, likes to hit you with long passes and long runs and has the athletes to do so. Grand Rapids has shown that capability, certainly on their last touchdown. And then Flint Central with Grand Rapids Union. Some of the things that they do best is ball control. Flint Central came back and showed Grand Rapids Union that they have the capability to play ball control.
And exactly like you said, Mike, is this tit for tat in this game. If you can do it, I can do it too.
Yep. These teams are able to put on many different kinds of helmets and perform all of those aspects of offensive football very capably. Thank you. Awaiting the kickoff here as the teams have changed ends. The Indians will be moving from my right to my left for the fourth period in their black home jerseys, while Union in their visiting whites.
And the officials took a little time out there as scoreboard looks like it says 34-27, but the score is actually 34-21, as you saw on your screen just a second ago.
Geez, even the scoreboard's getting carried away with this offensive slugfest as the onside kick came straight to Jeff Nagy, and Nagy was ready.
Good hands.
Hands were out and caught the football right away and even moved it ahead 3 yards or so to the 46-yard line of Grand Rapids Union. So the Indians are really set up in beautiful field position here and an opportunity to restore their 2-touchdown margin.
And when you put your all-hands team on the field, it doesn't necessarily include all running backs and receivers.
Jackson sends Rico Hurd in motion, fakes to him, gives it on the other side to Andre Weathers. Forget it. Leading, or rather one of the leading tacklers for Union, Mike Hernandez, fought off a block and then took on Weathers and took him right down.
Good open field tackle. Weathers tried to get the corner, a little herky-jerky move there, and that didn't work. He figured he'd just outrun him, and
Grand Rapids Union really has that play snuffed out now, that little counter reverse that the Indians like to run either with Hurd or Weathers. 2nd and 15 now. The Indians back in their own territory on their 49. Some movement on the Hawks defensive side of the football, and let's see if the Hawks were drawn off or not. Didn't take the referee long to decide. It was offsides against Grand Rapids, so the Indians will get much of that Weathers loss back, and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 46 now of the Red Hawks. 10:33, that clock running, remaining in the contest, 34-21. The Indians lead it over the Red Hawks in a game which has seen many long touchdown plays. Lots of excitement. Weathers on the delay, plenty of running room. Here comes another big gainer. Down the near side,
and he's gone. See ya.
What a fake by Andre Weathers on the last person who had a chance to collar him. Cornerback Mark McCoy.
And he
faked outside with a head and shoulder and then kept right on streaking down the near sideline for the score.
He put a big move on Mark McCoy, the last man, as you said, Mike, who had a chance to separate him in the goal line. Didn't do it.
46 yards for Andre Weathers, and the touchdown parade continues for the Indians.
There you see the handoff, the kick outside. Good block by 77 Gaddis on that play. Weathers makes the move on McCoy and scores 6.
10:08 left to go in the contest, and the Indians have hiked their scoring count to 40. 40-21, they lead it. They're going to go for 2 here. Lining up on the near side hash mark.
Excuse me, Mike. After this PAT, let's see if we can take another look at that touchdown again.
Fake to Hurd. On the short side, Jackson was trying to hit Jason Turner, but Turner was covered very well in the near left-hand corner of that end zone. Back there for Grand Rapids Union was McCoy, and he had help from Lloyd Nelson and Kevin Odell on the coverage. So Grand Rapids covers that 2-point try by the Indians very well, and there's Jackson along with Jason Turner exchanging a quick comment on the aborted conversion attempt. Still getting a pat of encouragement on the helmet from head football coach Joe Ufinger. 40-21 Indians now after another astonishingly quick drive, this time by the Indians. It took them 3 plays to go 46 yards after Grand Rapids scored a touchdown on a very similar 3-play drive.
Astonishingly quick.
Astonishingly. And for Weathers, his second touchdown scamper of the afternoon. .10:08 to play. Asensio with the kickoff. Good long kick. Gets it down to the 10. Handling it well there was Forster. Gets some good blocking ahead of him by Lagunas, his fellow backmate on the kickoff team, and Forster gets it up across his 20 to about the 28-yard line.
Jeff Nagy on the tackle right there. I tell you, Jeff's been all over the field this afternoon.
He's had himself an excellent football game. Well, Union has 9:58 to play, but there has been nothing clinched in this contest the way both teams have shown the propensity to put up touchdowns quickly. 40-21. Keep yourself strapped in, folks. Let's see what happens here. Massenberg, big number 76 along that Indian defensive forward wall. Torrey Robinson knocked him down. Loss of a yard.
That's what I was just about to say, Mike. I think he lost a yard or two. As we take another look at that play. There McCoy is, hand off to Massenberg, and hit immediately by Torrey Robinson.
They flank out Summerall in the slot. Wide to the left, Fox. Quick look that way by McCoy, pump fake. Going long on the ladder down to Rory Zagunis, and he caught the ball but well out of bounds right over there in front of head football coach Joe Eufinger of the Indians. Excellent coverage over there, supplied by the Indians' Rico Hurd. Bring up 3rd and 11 for Union with 6:53 to go in the contest. Or 8:53.
Excuse me, Mike.
A little tough to read that scoreboard, yeah.
It seems that McCoy's passes seem to get held up in the wind on that last one.
They send Lloyd Nelson in motion, and Nelson's going to line up in the slot left. The single setback is Massenberg. Play action to him. Penalty flag down. Turning the ball in, running with it. Good run, but just short of the first down was Mark McCoy at the 37-yard line. Got taken down by Torrey Robinson, who showed outstanding hustle on the play, coming back on McCoy from the line of scrimmage. Procedure against Grand Rapids Union. So the Indians will certainly accept that penalty and set Grand Rapids back another 5.
So we take another look at it. Didn't get a chance to see
Watch
who moved.
Torrey Robinson. Watch him skirt across the field and help in on the tackle. Great hustle. Robinson getting help over there from number 23, Garland Walker.
And Torrey Robinson was first team All-Valley and first team All-City as defensive tackle. Didn't quit on the play.
Nope. 3rd and 16. Union from their own 22-yard line. McCoy escaping Robinson. Has more time, throws across the way, almost intercepted by Garland Walker as Rory Zagunis fell down in the region of the football right down below us on the near side at the 35-yard line of the Red Hawks. And had Garland Walker been able to corral that football, he had nothing but friendly green Guy Houston turf in front of him.
Exactly the case. It seems like he got a late break on the ball, but once he did, got there in time enough to make the deflection.
So 3 downs and out. The Indian defense does an excellent job, and Zagunis puts his foot into the punt, gets a Union roll, and it will stop at the 48-yard line on the Grand Rapids side of the field. So a kick of only 26 yards and no return, and the Indians will have it at the Red Hawk 48. Talking about the Indians, they have no fewer than 9 players in their starting lineup who either made all Flint for all Saginaw Valley this season. D'Angelo Mitchell, all Flint, Saginaw Valley, along with George Gaddis, the offensive right tackle. The quarterback, Fred Jackson, all Saginaw Valley, and all City, Andre Weathers as the halfback. On the defensive side, another 5 players making either all City or all conference. Handoff straight up the middle and penalty flag down. It's going to be against Flint Central. They had 2 men in motion at the same time, both Andre Weathers and Rico Hurd, and they're talking now to quarterback Jackson about a communication gap on that play.
I tell you, Mike, you mentioned the players on Central's team who made all City or all Valley, and Andre Weathers made first team all City as a halfback tailback, and he made the all Valley first team as a free safety.
Here's the league honor roll for the Flint Central Indian football team of 1993. Mitchell, Gaddis, Weathers, Fred Jackson as the quarterback, Troy Robinson as the defensive lineman, along with Jameer Calvin as the linebacker, and Rico Hurd as the defensive cornerback, as once again we've got a penalty flag down on the 5-yard walk-off against the Indians.
Yeah, I think a little loss of concentration right here. They're winning this ball game 40-7 as we take another look at it. Illegal motion. The score, is 40-21. A little loss of concentration right there, but in this situation with this lead, you want to stay sharp. You want to stay mentally focused, because next week is another team, another game, and one loss, you go home.
But first, they want to secure this win. Leading by 19, but no lead is safe in the way this game has gone. The big plays that both teams have been able to string together. There's an inside buck by Glenn Griffin. Got about 5 yards up to his 47-yard line. It'll set up 2nd and 15.
Looking at the all Central Indians who made all City: D'Angelo Mitchell, George Gaddis, Andre Weathers, Fred Jackson, Troy Robinson, Jamar Calvin, and Rico Hurd all made the first team.
And don't forget the unsung heroes of this Indian ball club throughout the 1993 season. Guys like 88 Jason Turner, 33 Glenn Griffin, guys who have made their presence felt very much this afternoon, as well as throughout the year for Coach Joe Eufinger's Indians. And they're getting taken down was Andre Weathers way in the backfield, and kudos to Ed Summerall, who came up big defensively for the Red Hawks. Here it is.
And there's Jackson, pitches it to Weathers, and Summerall comes up from his defensive back position and makes a great open field tackle.
Loss of 7 for Weathers. That time they got him. Andre's had a great game this afternoon. He's had 2 touchdowns, one a 26-yard run, and then here early in the 4th quarter from 46 yards away. Fake to Rico Hurd. On the quarterback keeper, down the near sideline goes Fred Jackson, and he's close to midfield before he's racked up out of bounds by Tim Seelan, the leading tackler for the visitors. Got back 10 yards on 3rd and 23. It'll be 4th down now.
I think that play right there was, we're going to play it safe. Don't want to turn the ball over. So, Fred, you keep it. We know it's in good hands. As he moves the ball forward. Gives Weathers a little more room to get the punt off.
Yep. Jackson has thrown for 3 touchdowns. He has now 22 touchdowns passing this season.
What a
Weathers booms it for the coffin corner.
Rolls
it
into
just
the end zone.
skips into the near side corner of the end zone. And what a kick that would have been had Weathers somehow managed to get it in that coffin corner below the near side goal line. As it is, Central moves it 30 yards in the direction of the Grand Rapids goal line, and the Red Hawks will have to start on their own 20 with 5:41 to play in the game. Jackson has now, as we mentioned, thrown 22 touchdown passes, and he ran for a score this afternoon already. So he has another 8 touchdowns running the football. He's accounted for 30 touchdowns this year from his quarterback spot. What a year for Fred Jackson. Take a look at one of the boom mic operator down there for us.
Lou Penton with Lou Jr. taking in a little football
Is that Lou
this
Jr.?
afternoon.
That's Lou Jr., eh? Boy, what a good-looking boy he is. Mike Gachowski, William McNeil, Chuck Lynch, Sean Mayville upstairs in the box here above Guy Houston Stadium. Glad you're along with us. We've got 5:41 to play. The Indians lead it.
Oh, see ya!
Rico Hurd! You really get the feeling that he was waiting for that square out of McCoy to Rory Zagunas for a long time. And the next time they ran that play, he was going to be ready. And oh, was he waiting for the football there.
He was just laying in the bushes, waiting for that pass to be thrown. Here we take another look.
Here's
McCoy
Rico coming out of the
drop.
weeds.
Oh, baby. He just, is that as if he knew that play was coming.
Yep. Rico Hurd, a 20-yard interception return, and the Indians now lead it 46-21. Well, any steam that Grand Rapids Union had left collectively, both on the field and on their sideline, has been evaporated with that play. Let the partying begin. The Indians are on their way to the state Class AA high school football semifinals.
And there you see the flag blowing. It gives you some type of indication on the win here at Guy Houston Stadium.
Yeah, it's really picked up in intensity over the course of the game. And there's the extra point, and pulling it left was Panoff. Doesn't matter too much, though, as far as the Indians are concerned. 46-21, they lead it with 5:34 to play in the contest.
Tell you, take a look at this Flint Central sideline, and they can now together breathe a collective sigh of relief as they take a 46-21 lead, 5:34 to play in the game.
Well, another glorious chapter being written as we watch and speak in the Flint Central 1993 football book. This one, a regional Class AA championship in high school football. And certainly Grand Rapids Union has nothing to be ashamed about. They have run into a buzzsaw that has certainly sawed their way through many opponents this year in Flint Central. Brian Forster, straight up the middle, getting good blocking from Zagunas, and the rest of the Red Hawk kickoff team got it up to his 40-yard line running hard.
And Glenn Griffith and Nate Braswell combined on the stop.
5:22 to go. And now really it's just a matter of what the final score will be here. That's all that's yet to be determined, as Flint Central really came out ready, and their offensive 11 all got into the party this afternoon as we take a look at one of our another Comcast sturdy volunteers on this rather mild November afternoon.
That was Milton Mays, who was an award winner at our banquet the other night.
Yep, well deserved. Mark McCoy, that was a coverage sack as McCoy had time to throw but couldn't find anybody open. Give credit to that defensive backfield for Flint Central of Weathers, Rico Hurd, D'Angelo Mitchell back there.
There you see the Flint Central Indian Marching Band enjoying themselves.
Second down and 13. Union from their 37-yard line. They flank out Matt Partridge wide left. He scored a touchdown earlier in the corner, and they give it to the big guy Massenberg, and he was met head-on by Jamar Calvin. We talked about him frequently this afternoon, all city and all Saginaw Valley, and he dropped Massenberg right away at the 39-yard line.
Hey, he came up on the play, so you might be 6'1" and 270, but hey.
I'm going to do my very best to match you.
There you go.
Helmet on thigh pad.
Jamar Calvin hit him low, and number 44, David Robinson, got him up top.
3rd and 11 at the 39-yard line now for Union. Fox left, Matt Partridge right. In motion, Rory Zagunis. They'll line up on the left side now. Perfunctory fake to Nelson. Getting away from the rush of Robinson and throwing downfield was Mark McCoy. The pass intended for Fox, and he overthrew him along the far side.
Pass was intended for Fox and almost found the hands of D'Angelo Mitchell. Good pressure by Toy Robinson, number 76, to flush him out of the pocket. Never quit on a play. Was just about had a sack, but at the last second, as he was gaining ground on McCoy, he was blocked. One of his defensive linemen was blocked into him.
The last 3 possessions that Grand Rapids Union has had, the Indian defense has really done a stellar job, and they're going to go for it on 4th down here. Fake right, and then left, they give it to Lloyd Nelson, and Nelson is shackled short of the 1st down by number 23, Garland Walker, at the 48-yard line. That's 2 yards shy, and taking over on downs will be the Indians at the Red Hawk 48-yard line. So with 3:36 to go in the contest here at Guy Houston Stadium, and Central safely ahead, 46-21, let's take this timeout.
The Pistons, the Golden State Warriors. Chris Webber's only Michigan appearance Sunday, November 28th. Pistons game night at 6:30. Game time, 7 p.m. Are you watching? Only if you have cable. The Detroit Pistons and the Michigan Cable Television Association bring you this exclusive free cable cast.
Catch the Pistons and the Golden State Warriors only on Comcast Channel 17.
Jay Richardson, the new quarterback now for the Indians, and he sends Zakir Kareem in motion, and the giveaway to Rico Hurd, I believe. Yep. And Rico close to a 1st down at the 38-yard line, maybe 39 of Grand Rapids Union, just shy. It'll be 2nd down and a yard from there.
And Jay Richardson is a 5'11", 145-pound freshman.
2nd and a yard. Well, you know, we've talked so much about the offensive show put on by both teams this afternoon as we watch Glenn Griffin go over tackle to the 35-yard line for another Indian 1st down. And especially the Indians' offensive explosion today. But the Indian defense, certainly the unsung collective hero this afternoon, on Grand Rapids' 3 offensive possessions in the 4th quarter. They've been held without a 1st down, and throw in that middle possession, a 20-yard interception return for a touchdown by Rico Hurd. Getting the football that time, Antonio Black, as Joe Eufinger and his coaching staff start substituting freely for the Indians. Black gets it maybe just enough for a 1st down. He needed less than a yard.
And you know, you have a great ball club when you can give minutes to guys like this during the playoffs. I mean, most teams in the playoffs thus far haven't had this luxury. They have had to play starters for the entire game.
Excuse me, that was a 1st down play. 2nd down and 10 now, and they pitch it to Kareem. And Kareem, rolling around his right side, gets taken down at about the 33-yard line. Penalty flag down right at the spot of impact. With 1:21 to go in the contest, we'll see what this is all about. Holding against the Indians. So Rory Zagunis, the captain of the Red Hawks, will instruct the referee what to do from here, and the referee will march the Indians back toward their own goal line. Well, it's certainly been quite an offensive display, really, by both teams this afternoon, William. We have seen this quite a bit throughout the 1993 season from Flint Central. We didn't know what to expect from Grand Rapids Union, but it has certainly made it very interesting for all who have watched this afternoon. There's the pitch, and getting lots of blocking, running around his wide side, cutting it in is number 30. We don't have him on the Flint Central roster. We'll get his name hopefully to you before we close off our broadcast this afternoon. Michael Mullen. Here it is again.
There you see Richardson pitches to Mullen. Mullen tries to get the corner. Just got tripped. After he got hit initially, he spun and lost his balance on the second effort. Good run.
3rd and 12 now. Mullen tries again.
Nowhere.
Oh, he was just slung around by Mark Massenberg, or Calvin Massenberg, excuse me.
Massenberg, as we said, 6'1", 270. Mullen 5'9", 143.
We're talking about just a slight mismatch, eh?
Just a slight mismatch.
That's it. We're looking now at some of the regional champs, the Flint Central Indians in Class AA Region 1. They have just copped the regional football championship, and we'll be moving on now to the state semifinals, and we'll be trying to hopefully talk with head coach Joe Eufinger, victorious in his second straight state high school football playoff game of 1993, as you get a good close-up of the two teams exchanging in the sportsmanlike handshakes going down the line of their entire rosters. 46-21 our final. The Indians over the visitors from Grand Rapids Union, and Grand Rapids Union finishing out the season 10-1, winners of their Grand Rapids City League, and the individual honors as we look at Coach Joe Eufinger of the Indians just continue to mount for Flint Central. They have won the Flint City League. They are champions of the Saginaw Valley Conference. They have won their 2 regional playoff games and are now going to the state semifinals at a site yet to be determined. They will play the winner of Brighton and Westland John Glenn, a game that is going on this afternoon as well.
I tell you, Mike, unfortunately for us, this is where we have to get off the bandwagon as far as covering high school football in the Flint area. We can definitely carry on as fans.
You bet.
But this is the last game of the season for us, and what a way to end this current football season with a 46-21 victory by Flint Central. Regional crown headed to the semifinals. Great way to end the season for us.
And the stars have certainly shone brightly as the weather has cleared out and the sun shines brightly on the Guy Houston Stadium turf, and Joe Eufinger, as you see, raising the regional championship High School Athletic Association trophy. And of course, a lot of very excited high school footballers behind him. There's our Greg Tunnicliffe. Let's go on down to Greg now.
Having a little trouble with the audio right now.
For victory today.
Well, the key, I think, as it has been, our offense, everybody contributes. We've got a whole bunch of guys who do a great job in there. The kind of unsung guys are the 5 guys up front who keep blocking all the time because they make things go. And we just tell them, you give us a chance and our big play guys will get it done. Defensively, we hang in there, and I guess that's all we can say. We'd like to play a little stronger, but they seem to bend and not break often enough for us to get in real trouble. So just a great job by our guys.
Coach, congratulations and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank...
Set it back up now, Will. great game today, and the Flint Central Indians are going to the semifinals. The first time since 1985.
They sure are, Greg Tunnicliffe. Thank you very much.
And
William?
To reiterate what Coach Hufinger said, the big guys up front, the unsung heroes, Randy Scott, Nate Braswell, and George Gaddis. When you talk about this Flint Central Ball Club, is Jackson, Griffin, Weathers, Hurd, and those guys. And I tell you, it takes 11.
Yeah, it certainly does. An excellent point. First iterated by Coach Hufinger and reiterated by you. Grand Rapids Union ending their season on a low note, but certainly much to be proud of. They accomplished a lot, coming off a 3-6 campaign in 1992. Jeff Van Essen's team sporting a perfect 10-0 slate coming into the game this afternoon, finishing 10-1. Scott Van Essen, I should say.
After going 3-6 last year, and then to get in a position to at least play for a regional crown is a feat in itself.
You bet it is. The Stars have certainly shown brightly on the Flint Central side of the football. Plenty of offensive and defensive stars to tell you about. D'Angelo Mitchell caught 2 first-half touchdowns from quarterback Fred Jackson. Andre Weathers had 2 long scoring runs from 26 yards in the first quarter and 46 yards to kind of seal it in the fourth quarter when Grand Rapids was making a bit of a charge at the Indians, closing the gap to 13 at the end of the third quarter on a 69-yard Mark McCoy to Matt Partridge touchdown pass. Weathers came up with his big 46-yard touchdown run on the Indians' next possession, and that made it 40-21, and then Rico Hurd put the exclamation point on the Indians' regional football championship victory with his 20-yard interception return of a McCoy to Rory Zagunis pass. So Rico Hurd gets a touchdown defensively. Thanks to Chuck Lynch and Sean Mayville for their help in spotting and providing some game statistics for us here in the press box this afternoon. Hurd with a touchdown defensively. We mentioned Mitchell with 2 touchdown grabs. Andre Weathers with 2 touchdown runs. Fred Jackson, the quarterback, pads his already impressive seasonal offensive totals with 3 touchdown passes this afternoon, and he scored a 4th running from 38 yards on the option in the third quarter. And the list goes on and on. We could mention just about everybody on both the offensive and defensive sides of the football for Flint Central and mention something specifically that they did in a great way this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, George Gaddis, Torrey Robinson had a great game. Jameer Calvin had a great game. Jeff Nagy was all over the field. Rico Hurd, as you stated earlier, Mitchell and Weathers in the defensive secondary. I tell you, the Central Ball Club is great on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they really are. The score by quarters is as follows. Flint Central led it 7-0 at the first quarter break. The Indians outscored Union 21-13 in the second quarter. We had 5 second quarter touchdowns for a 28-13 Indian lead over the Red Hawks at halftime. Grand Rapids, as the teams exchanged touchdowns in the third quarter, Union got the benefit of a successful 2-point conversion for the third quarter scoring difference. Union outscoring Flint Central 8-6 in that third quarter, and it was 34-21 Indians after 3 periods. But then the Indians put it away with 2 fourth quarter touchdowns, the first one coming on the 46-yard Andre Weathers run, a beautiful run in which he faked out Mark McCoy at the 5-yard line and streaked into the near side end zone. And then capping it all off was Rico Hurd, just laying back in the bushes, as you so well put it, William, and watching McCoy's eyes and waiting for McCoy to throw the football in the direction of his favorite target, Rory Zagunis, stepping in the way, picking the ball off and shaking 20 yards untouched into the end zone for the final touchdown for Flint Central. And your 46-21 final score as Flint Central outscored Grand Rapids 12-0 in the fourth quarter. We hope you enjoyed this afternoon's broadcast. I know, speaking for William, that we certainly did. There was a lot of excitement and a lot of offense provided by both schools today. William, it's been a lot of fun working with you, both on the high school and collegiate level in 1993. I look forward to more of the same in 1994.
All righty. Hey, it's a pleasure working with a guy who a award has been named after, and he's still around.
I'm still alive to tell about it.
Most people who have stadiums and streets and things like that named after him and awards and so forth aren't with us anymore. But hey, it's great to have you here, Mike. Thanks a lot. It's been a great season. Like I said, unfortunately, as announcers, this is the end of the line for us. But hey, as a fan, we can definitely go on. So
absolutely, and plenty of other sports coming up on Comcast Cablevision for your benefit. Girls basketball coming up in the very immediate future. Professional hockey in the Colonial League with the Flint Generals coming up at the tail end of November. And also, we're going to be having Detroit Pistons basketball for you on Sunday evening, November 28th. Chris Webber and the Golden State Warriors coming to the Palace to take on the Pistons. Pistons game night will start at 6:30 on Channel 17 with the tip-off between the Warriors and our Pistons at 7 o'clock on Sunday night, November 28th. Make sure you mark down your calendars for Pistons basketball on that night.
You know, we also get a chance to go back down to Chrysler Arena where we went last year to see
Sam Ragnow, attorney.
Sam Ragnow and attorneys, attorneymen attempt to saddle the Michigan Wolverines with another loss.
Will it be revenge for the Michigan Wolverines or a repeat for Sam Ragnow, attorney, coming up with for the second year after last year's stunning upset over the highly rated and highly regarded Michigan Wolverines of the same Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Jimmy King, and company.
Yeah, we get to see Flint's own Leon Derricks, who could possibly start this year for Michigan, and if not start, he would definitely play a key role. Coach Fisher said, hey, I don't know if he's going to start or not, but he's going to play. So that'll be great, too.
A lot of fun sports-wise in store for you, certainly on Comcast Cablevision in November and in the months to follow, to be sure. I'd like to thank our entire Comcast broadcast crew for their excellent work throughout the 1993 football season and braving some, at times, inclement weather. Our camera people did an excellent job, certainly as well this afternoon. Sean Mayville, Chuck Lynch helping us out with the spotting up in the press box here at Guy Houston Stadium this afternoon. Greg Tunnicliffe was our sideline reporter. Thank you, Greg. And along with Lou Pinton, our boom mic operator. For William McNeil and Terry Locke, our director, and everybody else who made this broadcast possible of this regional state high school Class AA football championship possible for you. I'm Mike Gutowski saying so long from Guy Houston Stadium, where our final score, the Flint Central Indians of Coach Joe Ufinger and company, going to the state high school football region, or rather state high school football Class AA, period, semifinals against the winner of the Brighton Westland John Glenn contest going on as we speak. And that game will be contested at a neutral site, probably on Saturday, November 20th. This afternoon it was the Indians over Grand Rapids Union. The Indians continue to play unbeaten football, now 11-0 on this remarkable 1993 football season they've strung together. The next chapter will be written as we speak on Saturday, November 20th. This afternoon, the Indians 46 and the Grand Rapids Union Redhawks 21. For everybody at Comcast Cablevision, we'll see you next time here on Channel 17. Good afternoon, everybody.